video. Let's start this video tutorial looking at the sun, what they say is there and what we know is there. First, let's click on this one right here. This is Asteroids. This is 130.57 light years away. Then we have another one down here. Let's click on that. That's OCNC. That is 414.96 light years away. We have a tiny one back here. Let's click on that. That is D1 CNC. That is 384.17 light years away. Those are the ones we know about. They're supposed to be there. Now, before we talk about the ones that no one ever talks about, which is the Nibiru system, let's put the constellations in to see where the sun is at right now. Let's zoom out. The sun is in the Crab right now. So if you're looking for the Nibiru system, you need to look in this constellation. You have Venus over here, you have Mercury over here. Let's put the atmosphere back in. This is the daytime sky. It's 13:30. That's military time, so that would be 1:30 in the afternoon. So you have Venus. You'd be able to possibly see Venus if you had a really good telescope in the daytime sky. Let's click on that. So Venus would be right over here toward the sun. So now that we've taken a good look at that, we know what's supposed to be there, and now let's talk about the Nibiru system. Let's go ahead and turn this off. The Nibiru system, one of my favorite pictures of it, and I've also got it as my wallpaper. You've got the many moons, and then you've got this right here, which they're calling the striped planet. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to call it that too, because that's what it looks like, a little tiny striped planet there. You have an orb forming out over here. Love this picture. It's one of my favorites. But let's take a look at some unusual stuff. Let's start this. This is Overgaard Research Observatory in Arizona. Now, I told you when you're looking at these orbs, you can see some interesting detail of what either the planet or the moons or the Nibiru system look like in the reflections. And this is a really good example. As the day goes by, you can see some unusual markings in the orb when it's not being blocked by the sun or the clouds. But definitely you want to pay close attention to the orbs, to look at the different structures that you see there. Now it's fading out. I've got this on time lapse. Now we're going to the Post Observatory in Trenton, Maine. And this is just a good example of the Nibiru system, how well now we're being able to see it in the afternoons. Remember, in the mornings was usually the best time to really take a good look at it. Now it seems like the afternoons are also an excellent time to view it. This is getting into, it's 16:59 on here, so that would be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now let's look at some unusual things. Remember in a previous video, I kept seeing these bursts of light early in the morning. This starts out at 3 o'clock in the morning in Hong Kong. And my friends who are big UFO buffs kept telling me to try to have an open mind. And when I showed my viewers these these previous photos taken at different observatories from the all Skycam shots. But this is on July the 28th. This is early in the morning, and you see that it looked like, I thought it looked like a moon that turned into a burst of light that turned into a dot that kind of flew away in the sky. Now we're going to go to another observatory This is the Hong Kong Space Museum, and all of these are from all sky cams. But notice you see that bright light. It looks like a moon, but then it turns into like a little burst of energy that turns into a ball of light that just floats out into space. Gonna let this time lapse run. I tried to capture it early in the morning because I'm trying to figure out why you can see this at nighttime. Now, with the Nibiru system, we know that the sun hits one of the little dots, usually the red dot, and casts an orb out into the sky, out into space, and sometimes down to Earth. But that's the sunlight hitting it. These are starting out at, if you look at the time lapse on the top, very early in the morning before the sun has even risen. So what is creating this bright light at night? It is not the moon, but what is it? It looks like, to me, a bright light hitting the upper atmosphere. And then it turns into this tiny little dot, and you just see it float off into space. Now, I said before in the previous video that I shot of this when I captured the same image, that I did not believe it was a UFO, but my friends kept saying, you know, try to have an open mind. And when you present this to your viewers, you know, have an open mind about it. But I never thought it was a UFO. I thought it was something else, and I can't explain it to you. But I think there's another part of the Nibiru system that we cannot see in the daytime, but we're obviously seeing at night. But I don't know what it is, and I cannot explain it to you very well. The Australian shots get a little bit more detail. Notice the orb behind the light. So you see the burst of light here, and then you see the orb forming behind it. And as the time goes by and the sun starts to rise, you see it like drifting away out into space. But notice where it's drifting. I'm going to put my pointer where it's drifting out into space until eventually you can't see it again. Okay? But notice the Nibiru system is emerging in the morning sunlight right here. Right here. So what is causing that bright light to shine in the nighttime? It isn't the moon. I have no idea what it is, but I thought I'd post that for you. And let's talk for a little bit. Let's talk about the NASA's new releases. They have said a little something about, well, not the Nibiru system, but the asteroids that follow the Nibiru system. Let me read to you one of their press releases that they just released. It says, distributed at the outer edge of the asteroid belt, the Euphrosyne has an unusual elliptical path that juts out well above the ecliptic, the equator of the solar system. The asteroid after which they are named, pronounced Euphrosyne, for an ancient Greek goddess of mirth, is about 156 miles across and is one of the 10 largest asteroids in the main belt. Current-day Euphrosyne is thought to be a remnant of a massive collision about 700 million years ago that formed the family of smaller asteroids bearing its name. Scientists think this event was one of the last great collisions in the solar system. A new study conducted by scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratories in Pasadena, California, used the agency's orbiting near-Earth object Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, called the NEOWISE telescope, to look at these unusual asteroids and to learn more about near-Earth objects, or NEOs, and their potential threat to Earth. NEOs are bodies whose orbits around the Sun approaches the orbit of Earth. This population of short-lived on the astronomical timescales and is fed by other reservoirs of bodies in our solar system. As they orbit the Sun, the near-Earth objects can occasionally have close approaches to Earth. For this reason alone, the safety of our planet, this study of these objects is important. As a result of their study, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory researchers believe that Euphrosyne may be the source of some of the dark near-Earth objects found to be on long, highly inclined orbits. They found that although gravitational intersections with Saturn, Euphrosyne's asteroids can evolve into near-Earth objects over timescales of millions of years. The near-Earth objects can originate in either the asteroid belt or the more distant outer reaches of the solar system. These from the asteroid belt are thought to evolve toward Earth's orbit through collisions and gravitational influences of the planets, originating well above the ecliptic and near the far edges of the asteroid belt. The forces that shape the trajectories toward Earth are far more moderate. The Euphrosynes have a gentle resonance with the orbit of Saturn that slowly moves these objects, eventually turning some of them into near-Earth objects. Particularly the near-Earth objects that skirt our home planet's neighborhood. Such studies are important and potentially critical to the future of humanity, which is the primary reason the Jet Propulsion Laboratories and its partners continue to relentlessly track these wanderers within our solar system. To date, the U.S. assess have discovered more than 98% of these known near-Earth objects. So basically, long story short, they're studying them. It goes into detail about NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratories in Pasadena, California, manages the NEOWISE missions for NASA's space missions in Washington. The Space Dynamic Laboratories in Logan, Utah, built the science instruments. The Ball Aerospace and Technology Corporation of Boulder, Colorado, built the spacecraft. Science operations and data processing takes place in the Infrared Processing and Analysis Center in the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena. Caltech manages the Jet Propulsion Laboratories for NASA. NASA's Near-Earth Object Program at NASA's headquarters in Washington manages and funds the search, study, and monitoring of the asteroids and comets whose orbits periodically bring them close to Earth. The Jet Propulsion Laboratories, the Near-Earth Objects Office of NASA's Science Mission in Washington. Very, very interesting. They're paying more attention to the asteroids than they are to the Nibiru system itself. It goes on and on. I'm going to post a link so y'all can go ahead and take a look at that, about their tracking these mysterious asteroids. It says, a highly above plane in our solar system, the near asteroids reach abyss between Mars and Jupiter. Scientists have found a unique family of space rocks. These interplanetary oddballs are the Euphrosyne asteroids, and by any measure they have been distant, dark, and mysterious until now. So basically they're researching them, but they're not researching Nibiru, or at least they're not saying they're researching Nibiru. But I thought I'd give you an update on that. This is going to be a really quick video. Doing a longer one this weekend. I have actually no laughing. I won 2 awards in the state of Texas for my photography, so I'm going to a it's called the Lone Star Art Guild convention, where I'm showing my winning pieces of photography. So I'm going to be doing that this weekend, and it's kind of a big deal, but it kind of sounds lame talking about it on a YouTube video. But for me, I'm kind of proud because it's the first time I've ever gone to the Lone Star Art Guild's convention to show anything. So it's kind of a big deal for me. So I'm making this short because I've got to prepare for tomorrow. I will do a much longer one, hopefully this weekend. I did promise you to do a video tutorial on how to hook up cameras and webcams to your own telescopes. So I will get to that video later. Oh, and I did want to answer a couple of questions real quick. Where were they? Because I have them written down. Here they are. Okay, Matthew Rogers sent me some really great pictures, and I wanted to tell him he needs to put time stamps and dates on them and send me a link to your channel. And John McLaughlin asked if the Nibiru system is upsetting the sun. I saw a WSO video recently that said it was upsetting the sun on July the 23rd. Unfortunately, John, I didn't see the WSO video. I've been really, really busy. I'm sorry about that. So I don't exactly know what was in the video, but I can tell you that on July the 23rd, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. On July the 22nd and July the 23rd, there were 3 solar flares. The first solar flare ranged as an M5 sunstorm and peaked Friday night, and it was followed by a second more intense flare which peaked as an M7.5 class solar storm on Saturday, and the third was a M5.5 class. I don't know if you know what the M level flares are, but let me give you a quick example of it. The flares that are classified as M level flares, and M class is just below the most intense flares, which are X class flares. So the letter in front of it is important, and then the number behind it. So an M class is one level down before the most intense solar flare, which is called an X class. So on July the 23rd, we had an M7.5, which is a really big flare. Now, the X-class solar flares can potentially pose a risk to astronauts in space. It may also disrupt GPS and communication satellite signals. So it's kind of a big deal. Again, I didn't see the WSO video, so I hope that answers your question. Yes, the Nibiru system does, because of its gravitational pull and force, does aggravate the sun. So that's why the solar system is heating up. The planets in our solar system are heating up. You'll see some solar flares from time to time. So I hope that answers your question. And Mark Perry asked, it looks like Nibiru has its own small sun. Do you see planets with Nibiru? Well, Nibiru itself, the red planet, there's one planet and the rest are moons. But what I showed you in this video tonight is there's something else out there that's located a little bit higher above the Nibiru system, which is that light that's shining at nighttime. Now, in the daytime, the sun hits the Nibiru system, which casts the orbs out into space, out into our sky, out into space, and sometimes down toward the ground. But there's something else out there that's above the Nibiru system that's casting a light out toward our planet that looks like a moon, but turns into that little tiny dot and then just kind of floats away out into space. But if you look at that time-lapse video, actually, let's show that again. not that one. Where's the time lapse? Did I already take it off? I think I already took it off. If we look at it, that time lapse video again, you can see it. Let me go over here real quick. Okay, unfortunately, this is going to start them all over again, but that's okay because it's something to look at. But anyway, I don't know what that is. Nibiru is not supposed to have its sun, a sun. Our sun is its sun. Now the red dot is suspected to be Nibiru. Why I have never said that the red dot is Nibiru is because I don't know that for a fact. Nibiru is a red planet, and it does glow, and we know that the entire reason the Anunnaki came to Earth was to get the gold, to powder it, and to put it into their atmosphere to protect their ozone, also to keep the planet warm when it's away from our sun, and to keep it cool from the sun's scorching rays when it comes near our sun in its long elliptical orbit. So we do know that it would glow because of all that gold. But there's no red dwarf. A lot of people are saying that. There's no brown dwarf star. The Anunnaki know the difference between a planet and a star, and they never wrote anything about a star being part of their system. But there is something else out there, and I can't find anything in any of the literature about what the Anunnaki said about themselves that would explain this. Now look at this. This is from 3 o'clock in the morning. And at first when you look at this, it looks like the sun. But as you watch the time lapse go by, this is not the sun. This is some kind of light hitting the upper part of our atmosphere and causing this bright light. Now look at this. This is 4 o'clock in the morning. Look how bright that is. And now the sunrise is starting to come, and you just see it drift off out into space. And this will go from this is Hong Kong Space Museum, so this is a different one from All Skycam. And you can see the same thing. I think there's 2 or 3 of them from Hong Kong, and then 2 of them from Australia that show exactly the same thing. Starts out early in the morning before the sun has even risen, and you just see the same object. I can't explain this to you because nowhere is it written in any of the Sumerian texts that they had a sun, or some kind of star, but yet I can't explain what we're looking at. What would make that bright light? Well, remember the joke about the second sun, and I disproved it. There's no such thing as a second sun. It's just an orb. Well, the orb we were always seeing in the daytime. But what is this that we're looking at the nighttime? What is so bright that it would shine and cast down from deep space a bright light toward Earth? And look at it. It does almost look like a moon. But as the sun starts to rise, it gets smaller and smaller until you just see that little dot float out into space. I can't explain that. I don't know what that is. See, it just fades away. Now this is from Gorge Creek. This is from Australia. And by the way, y'all can get some great shots early in the morning from Australia of the Nibiru system. Just really, really great shots. And again, you just see that little dot fly away. And you see it flew away over here. Now watch as the sun rises. Okay. See where my cursor's at. As the sun rises, oh, it went too fast. I was about to say you could see the Nibiru system right around here. Okay, and look at this one. A bright light, and then it has an orb behind it. But this is early in the morning. Now the sun's starting to rise. I'll put my cursor where it floats away. I don't want to put it on there, but I want to put it close enough so you can see it. Right there. Then you can't see it anymore. The sun's coming up. Okay, look underneath my cursor. You see the dots? That's the Nibiru system. So what was that above it? What was that above it? Okay, I'm going to move my cursor. See, this is the Nibiru system. You can see it early in the morning. But what was that light? That is bizarre. I can't explain that to you. And I can't find any material anywhere that it explains it or even mentions it. So if there's any other Nibiru researcher out there that is much more knowledgeable than me, or any of you that has any theories about what we were looking at, please leave a comment down below or send me some email. My email address is all lowercase. It's LLYNNJUNG@gmail.com. I'll put a link to my email address down below. But yeah, tell me what you think about that, because I'm very, very curious. I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to find anything in the Sumerian text about it. But something is out there, and it's shining in the nighttime sky before the sun has even risen. So I don't know what that is. Well, I'll talk to you later, guys. Um, be careful and love each other. Bye-bye.